Fish and Chums!
Hi everybody, old Gare here with my buddy Tuffy. How you doing this evening, Tuffy? Kind of warm, isn't it? We've been out fishing and it's that time of the year. Well, it's 4th of July week. It's for sure. It's hot as a firecracker. That's bad, I know. Hey, we got a quick program for you today, a report. Things are tightening up a little bit at a lot of our local reservoirs because of the heat, but still there's a lot of fish being caught. So let's go out to Table Rock. I was out there yesterday. The water temperature was 85. Well, when we left it was 87, but we got on the lake it was 85. And I want you to take a look at this video here. Here's my buddy Scott Prinkle. He and I have been fishing the last couple of weeks on and off, and his wife Patty always went with us the first time, and Scott said she always catches the biggest fish. Well, she didn't go yesterday. And look who caught the big fish. Scott, look at this big catfish on 6-pound test line. We were drop shotting for walleye with a night crawler, and he picked up this fish on 6-pound test. Wow, good going, Scott. That's a heck of a fish on 6-pound test line for sure. We caught a walleye, some bass, some big blue grill. We'll be talking about that in a minute on the Table Rock Report. But I have to show this photo when Scott and Patty and I went fishing the first day. Look at Patty. Look at this beautiful bass that she caught. Beautiful lady, beautiful bass. Boy, what a nice couple they are. Good going, guys. Good going, Patty. What a fish. That was on light line as well. Okay, let's go out to Table Rock. Like I said, it was 85. By the time I left the lake yesterday, it was 87. It's warm. It's humid. And same thing's going on right now. You can catch some topwater fish. Not every morning. The topwater bite's a little finicky. Some days they'll crush that junior spook, whopper plopper, popper, but other days the baits, they'll just go up and swipe at it. And I sound like a broken record, folks, but please use a swim bait, a grub, or this underspin type bait. When that happens, when they're not killing that topwater bait, throw a grub or an underspin or a swim bait out, pitch that out on like a half-ounce jig head, let it sink down, and well, I use a 1/4 ounce jig head with my smoked grub. But anyway, count it down to about 10 or even less and swim it through that school of surfacing bass. And a lot of times you'll catch that fish, but sometimes those fish don't want to hit that topwater bait. They'll just kind of mouth it or swipe at it. So other days, they're really killing it. So topwater fishing can be good at Table Rock right now, that's for sure. Okay, as we've been talking about, the summer bites on. Go out on the long gravel runs and the humps. And we've been doing some drop shotting with live night crawlers and also some, like a plum little plastic worm. A natural night crawler looking plastic worm will work as well on that drop shot. And so on those long runs, anywhere from about 18, 25 to 35 feet of water, boy, the thing about on these long runs, look for schools of shad. If you find a school of shad on your electronics, stop and fish it. If it's bare, just move to the next long run out. So drop shot fishing is good on Table Rock. And by the way, up the James River arm, we've had some pretty good reports of people using some of the fellas using long plastic worms. I had a friend out the other day, picked up 3 real nice keepers using a 10-inch kind of a plum plastic worm, working it Texas style right in the brush piles. And by the way, up the James too, early morning, the first hour or so, buzz baits have been working up there around some of the timber and stumps. So check this out. Okay, other than that, the walleye fishing is kind of unpredictable. We've been picking up some walleye, but nothing real strong this week as we had the last couple of weeks. We're getting on the points, using drop shots with night crawlers on the long runs and the humps. Check this out. Use your electronics. You should be able to find some walleye. Keep a keen eye out on anywhere from about 25, 30 feet of water. More or less than that, I should say 22 to 24 foot range. Check this out. Okay, Taneycomo, same old stories. Are running some generators in the afternoon hours, and that's when the fishing picks up. They've been using that old Berkeley trout worm in the pink with that slip bobber, maybe 4 or 5 feet. This is picking up some fish, and also they've been picking up some fish on night crawlers, and still a few drifting minnows when they have a current. Now when it's real quiet, nothing's going on, take that 2 or 4 pound test out. Little brown or olive green jig, maybe 32nd ounce. When it's real quiet, no water running, pitch that out, count it down to about 10, and then just work it back in. This may save the day for you. And they've been picking up a few fish when the water's running also on little Cleo spoons. It seems like that blue stripe's been working. And some people have been trolling crankbaits, small crankbaits, picking up some fish, or casting jerk baits at times. So Taneycomo could be good for the upcoming weekend, but the pattern has been afternoon hours on the generation, pretty quiet in early morning hours. Okay, let's go over to Bull Shoals Lake. They've been picking up some nice bass, more consistent, I think, than Table Rock. Hello, come on in. And Catfish Rick, you never know when he's going to come in. Okay, so what happens at Bull Shoals, the topwater bait fishing, I should say, has been a little bit more predictable than Table Rock. It's been pretty consistent out there. They've been using spooks, junior spooks, some buzz baits at Bull Shoals. They've been picking up some fish on also just what's the bait I want to talk about here? Oh, Pop-R's, one of my favorite baits. I've been picking up some fish at Bull Shoals on topwaters first hour and a half of the day, and some of the boys have been going out late evening, right before dark, about an hour, picking up some topwater action. Other than that, you can get out at Bull Shoals and fish the long runouts off some of the flats on the points. And I tell you, good bait working out there at Bull Shoals right now is the Ned rig. Boy, if things are tough, grab that Ned rig. That's going to pay off for you. And they've been picking up some fish on drop shots. Some people have been pitching out grubs with a 1/4 ounce jig head. It seems like salt and pepper or the smoke has been working the best, kind of mix it up, and that has been fairly predictable as well. Find the big schools of shad and kind of work spoons. You know, you can work spoons. That, by the way, that's working good over Table Rock at times too. Spoons, flutter spoons at both Table Rock and Bull Shoals. So take some spoons along with you. And Bull Shoals has been producing some fair, I'm going to say, walleye fishing in the early morning hours and late evening hours on bottom bouncers with night crawlers. Not picking up a lot of fish, but the fish they are picking up are real nice size. So you may want to try a little walleye fishing this weekend or next few days out at Bull Shoals. Okay, let's go over to Stockton Lake. The walleye bait is not as good as it's been the last 3 weeks. It's a little off last week. It's off again this week with all the mild, real quiet weather, not too much wind out there. But they have been picking up some fish on bottom bouncers off the points in about 25 to 30 feet of water. And they have been picking up a walleye occasionally by trolling thicker shads off some of these points at Stockton. Some nice crappie. Look at here. Mike Jackson was out just a couple days ago at Stockton, and I think he found these crappie, a limit of crappie out in the big cove, and found some shad, suspended crappie in the shad, and he picked up a nice limit of these beautiful, beautiful crappie. Good going, Mike Jackson out at Stockton. Okay, let's go out at Truman. They've been picking up some limits of crappie out there. My gosh, I've had good reports the last few days. They've been picking up crappie back in the big coves and also up off the flats. Fine fish. You might have to go in 50, 60 feet of water. You might find these big balls of shad down anywhere from 20 to 40, 45 feet of water, and you'll see the crappie in them. And jig or minnows, get down there, you can pick yourself up some crappie. And I tell you, don't overlook the shallow water this time of the year at Truman. You say, oh my gosh, here it is, 4th of July week, it's 100 degrees out. How am I going to catch shallow water crappie? This is one lake that you can do it, and that is Truman, that's for sure. It's the best shallow water summer pattern I've ever seen in my life. You can catch them off the tree rows, and I'm talking 8, 10, 12 feet of water. You can go to cedar trees in anywhere from 12, 15 feet of water, experiment on your depth, but don't overlook that shallow pattern because you can catch them out there on that shallow pattern this time of the year at Truman. It can be real good. Hey, look at my old buddy, Jordan. Gosh, I haven't heard from you for a couple of weeks, Jordan. My gosh, Jordan reminds me of me when I was his age. I would fish anywhere at any time. This kid, He might be on Table Rock one time, the next day at Truman, Stockton, Bull Shoals, but he is a fisherman, and he got into the hybrids the other day at Truman, and they've been going real good out there. Look at this picture of Jordan with these two nice fish. He's been picking up white bass and hybrids, and off the humps out at Truman, some people have been using shad, and you know, you can catch those little perch this time of the year and hook that perch up, and boy, those hybrids will eat that thing up as well. So looks good at Truman this week for crappie and the hybrids. Few walleye being caught out there. In fact, I wanted to show you this. Tony was out the other day, and he caught this mess of walleye in his lady. Boy, good going, Tony. Great picture, great walleye fishing. I think Truman's having a good walleye year this year. And this was just a few days ago, so they're biting out there. And one other report, had a report from Lake of the Ozarks. They're picking up some crappie out there, definitely in the summer pattern off some of the shaded docks and also the brush piles, of course, anywhere from 15 to 20 feet of water. Are you getting hot, buddy? Yeah, it's getting hot, isn't it? And one quick report from out at Norfolk. Walleye fishing slowed down a little bit, but they are picking up some limits on the flats, anywhere from 25 to 30 feet of water, using night crawlers. And so check this out at Norfolk. Somebody asked about the stripers. They're down deep now, around 60 feet of water, spooning. You might pick yourself a striper up out at Norfolk. Well, that's a big little show for the day, Tuffy. I want to thank you guys very much for being with us, and be sure to share and like. And if you haven't subscribed yet, be sure to subscribe. That helps us out a little tiny bit. Just push that subscribe button. Doesn't cost anything, then you won't miss out on all the action. And if you have any photos, we've been getting photos and a little bit of information people are sharing with us. Go to our email at fishingchums@gmail.com. Have yourself a nice weekend. And next few days, take plenty of water out, guys, and go out and catch some fish. Might have to get up early. God bless you all. See you next week right here on Fishing Chums.